largely dependent on relief materials being supplied by the rescue workers. Now, meanwhile, in view of the current flood situation, the Assam Disaster Management Authority has further expedited the response and recovery services by deployment of additional resources and support system to the severely affected districts, especially Kachhar and Barak Valley. Now, 2 drones have been deployed in Silchar for carrying out mapping of flood-affected areas. The Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma today discussed the prevailing flood situation in the state with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, speaking to Prime Minister Modi on the sidelines of the nomination filing of presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu, Sharma briefed the Prime Minister on the relief operations. Now, Prime Minister Modi reiterated that the centre fully stands with the Assam government in dealing with the flood crisis. Now, meanwhile, Chief Minister Sharma, after his meeting with Prime Minister Modi, said that the centre is ready to extend all possible help to the flood-hit state.
You met Prime Minister of India?
We met and we discussed certain things also. আৰু মই ভাবো যে অসমত যোৱাকালি প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী নৰেন্দ্ৰ মোদী ডাঙৰীয়াই অসমৰ ফ্লাডৰ ওপৰত এটা দীঘলীয়া টুইটো কৰিছে, বিবৃতিও দিছে আৰু ভাৰত চৰকাৰৰ পৰা আমি যিমান সহায় পাব লাগে আমি পাই থাকিম।
Any discussion regarding special package for
পেকেজ আমাকতো নালাগে, পেকেজ আমাক লাগিব দলং বনাব, ৰাস্তা বনাব, মথাউৰি বনাব, এইটো পানী কমিলেহে আমি গম পাম। গতিকে এইটো এটা পেকেজ শব্দত যাব নালাগে, যি লাগে সেইটোকে দিব।
Shifting focus to some international stories now. A second earthquake struck an area of eastern Afghanistan a short while back, killing at least 5 people. Now, as per reports, the tremors shook areas close to the epicenter of Wednesday's 6.1 magnitude earthquake. Now, the US Geological Survey's website showed a 4.3 magnitude earthquake had hit near the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. Now, meanwhile, authorities in Afghanistan have ended the search for survivors after an earthquake that killed over 1,000. Meanwhile, India on Thursday sent humanitarian aid to the people of Afghanistan. While taking an incremental step towards reopening the Indian embassy in Afghanistan, Delhi Thursday sent a technical team to Kabul, where it will be stationed at the embassy to coordinate delivery of humanitarian aid. Well, Boris Johnson's Conservatives lost 2 parliamentary seats, a crushing blow to the governing party that prompted the resignation of its chairman and intensified doubts about the future of Britain's Prime Minister. Now, in Rwanda, for a meeting of Commonwealth nations, Johnson was defiant, pledging to listen to voters' concerns and do more to tackle a cost of living crisis after what he described as quote-unquote tough results in the 2 so-called by-elections. Now, the losses, one in the Conservatives' traditional southern heartlands and in a northern English industrial seat, one from Labour in the last election, suggest that the broad appeal Johnson presented to win the 2019 election may be fracturing. Well, fears that Johnson could have become an electoral liability may prompt lawmakers to move against him again after months of scandal over COVID-19 lockdown parties at a time when millions are struggling with rising food and fuel prices. Well, Johnson has so far resisted pressure to resign after he was fined for breaking lockdown rules at his Downing Street office. Well, this month, he survived a vote of confidence by the Conservative lawmakers through 41% of his parliamentary colleagues voted to oust him, and he is under investigation by a committee over whether he intentionally misled Parliament. Ukraine signaled today that its troops were withdrawing from the city of Severodonetsk, the scene of weeks of intense bombardments and street fighting, in a move that would be a significant setback in its struggle to defeat the Russian forces. Now, provincial governor Serhiy Gaidai said that troops in the city had already received the order to move to new positions, but he did not indicate whether they had already done so or where exactly they were going. While Gaidai was speaking on the day that marked 4 months since Russian President Vladimir Putin sent tens of thousands of troops over the border, unleashing a conflict that has now killed thousands of combatants and civilians, uprooted several million people, and has seen Ukrainian cities blasted to bits by Russian artillery and airstrikes. Now, the war has also fueled a global energy and food crisis, and some of the heaviest fighting of the war has taken place in Severodonetsk, where street by street combat has raged for months, with Russia painstakingly taking more ground. Well, the battle is key for Russia to establish control over the last remaining Ukrainian held sliver of Luhansk province, which, along with Donetsk, makes up the Donbas region. While Ukraine's industrial heartland, Severodonetsk fall would leave only Lyshansk, which its sister city on the west bank of the Seversky Donets River, remaining in Ukrainian hands. Now, Russia's tactics, since its troops failed to capture the capital Kyiv early in the morning, involved ferocious bombardments of cities and towns, followed by assaults by ground troops. Now, meanwhile, a senior official in the Russian-installed administration of Ukraine's occupied Kherson region has been killed in an apparent assassination, the latest in a string of attacks against Russian-backed authorities. Dmitry Sovlushenko, head of the family's youth and sport department of Kherson Military Civilian Administration, was killed in a bomb blast today, while the deputy leader of Kherson region, Kirill Stermosvov, confirmed the development. And moving on now, US senators advance a bipartisan bill late on Thursday addressing the epidemic of gun violence convulsing the country, approving a narrow package of new firearms restrictions and billions of dollars in mental health and school security funding. Now, the reforms, which are almost certain to be rubber stamped by the House of Representatives on Friday, fall short of the demands of gun safety advocates and President Joe Biden, but have been hailed as a life-saving breakthrough after almost 30 years of inaction by the Congress. Now, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which has backed by all 50 Democratic senators and 15 Republicans, includes enhanced background checks for buyers under the age of 21, $11 billion in funding for mental health, and $2 billion for school safety programs. Well, it also provides funding to incentivize states to implement quote-unquote red flag laws to remove firearms from people considered a threat. And it closes the so-called boyfriend loophole under which domestic abusers could avoid a ban on buying firearms if they were not married to or living with their victim. Now, the Senate and House are on a 2-week recess starting next week, while the Democratic-controlled House is expected to approve the Senate's bill with little drama before members leave town tonight. Let's take a look now at the big story related to the Maharashtra political crisis. The disappearance of rebel Shiv Sena leader Eknath Shinde from Hotel Radisson Blu in Guwahati triggered speculations on his whereabouts. Well, reports started doing the rounds on national media that Shinde had left for Mumbai. Now, some other reports on the national media said that Shinde was on his way to New Delhi, in all probability, to meet the BJP central leadership. However, around 3 hours later, Shinde returned to the hotel, putting to rest all speculations. Now, the big question is, where was Eknath Shinde for those 3 hours? Northeast Live was the channel to break the news before anyone else that Shinde had gone to consult legal and constitutional experts here in Guwahati as the rebel camp prepare for the final showdown. Northeast Live broke the news minutes after Shinde returned to Hotel Radisson Blu, that is, well before 5 p.m. Let's listen into the breaking input by Northeast Live Editor-in-Chief Wasbir Hussain once again.
We are getting a big breaking story at this point in time that Eknath Shinde, the leader of the rebel Shiv Sena group currently camping in Guwahati. He had gone out of the hotel Radisson Blue today, and he had disappeared, if I may use the word, for close to 3 hours. Now our sources, well-informed sources, are telling Northeast Live, this is the big breaking story, that Eknath Shinde and his group are consulting lawyers and constitutional experts. That means they're getting ready for the final showdown. The Eknath Shinde camp is getting ready for the final showdown, and Eknath Shinde himself, accompanied by a member of parliament from Assam, he had gone out of Hotel Radisson Blue to meet some legal experts, who are camping outside the hotel. So we are yet to ascertain who the lawyer is, but there are two versions doing the rounds. One, that the lawyer is a lawyer based in Guwahati. The second version is that a group of lawyers have flown in from outside the Northeast to Guwahati, to whom Eknath Shinde had gone and personally met. At this point in time, Eknath Shinde and his group are busy preparing affidavits and so on. And highly placed sources within the Shiv Sena says that following notices served on the group by Uddhav Thackeray faction, they are preparing to reply to these technical points, quote unquote, the technical points raised in these notices served on Eknath Shinde and others belonging to his group. They are taking legal expertise on how to respond. In fact, Uddhav Thackeray's camp is planning to expel or suspend Eknath Shinde and his loyalists. So in this backdrop, there are two things. There are two legal experts' opinion are being sought. One, how to reply to the notices where technical points have been raised by the Uddhav Thackeray group, the legal consequences if they were to topple the Uddhav Thackeray government. That is what they're discussing. And second, first of all is the reply, and second, what will be the roadmap if they have to, land up once again, return to Mumbai and stake claim to form the government, because these are still Shiv Sena members. So technically, if you ask me whether the Uddhav Thackeray government has been reduced to a minority, then technical answer may be no. He has not yet been reduced to a minority, because these people, the 40 to 50 people who are camping, the 38 Shiv Sena MLAs practically who are camping in Guwahati, they still continue to be Sena MLAs, because the Sena also, Uddhav Thackeray camp has also not expelled them. So these are the issues. These are the legal issues that confronts the Eknath Shinde camp, and they are trying to seek resolutions to this. And that is the reason why Eknath Shinde, accompanied by an Assam MP, had gone out of the Radisson Blue Hotel to consult with lawyers.
And meanwhile, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, who is in New Delhi for the presidential poll nomination, maintained that anyone is welcome in Assam, and even invited the Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray to the state.
ये कह रहे हैं कि आप असम की बात पर ध्यान देके हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हैं।
आपका मुंह से सुना कि और पहुंच रहा है, तो और भी पूरा देश का जितना विधायकगण है सबको मैं आमंत्रित करता हूं, असम में आइए।
वो कह रहे हैं कि आप अगर खुद मुख्यमंत्री, आपको कोalition का धर्म आपको फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर समझना चाहिए, इस तरह से नहीं करना चाहिए।
मैं होटल में लोग आने से बंद कर दूंगा तो कैसा फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर है? कल आप होटल बुक करेगा और मैं मना करूंगा कि देश में फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर चल रहा है और असम का होटल में आप मत आइए, तो ये थोड़े फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर इसको बोलता है।
कितना दिन में सरकार बन जाएगी
मेरा पता नहीं है, लेकिन असम में जितना दिन रहेगा मेरे लिए खुशी का बात है कि रहिए। मैं तो सबको बुलाता हूँ, सब आइए असम।
आप उद्धव ठाकरे जी से क्या कहना चाहेंगे सर?
आप भी वेकेशन में आइए असम।
Now, meanwhile, the Assam Congress staged protests outside Hotel Radisson, demanding the rebel Maharashtra MLAs to leave the state. Now, meanwhile, Maharashtra Chief Minister and Shiv Sena President Uddhav Thackeray today reached out to the functionaries of his party, which is currently battling a rebellion. Now, despite the rebellions that the party has faced earlier, it came to power twice. It may have left the Chief Minister's official residence, but not my determination, Uddhav Thackeray had said. Well, Thackeray also lashed out at the rebel MLA Eknath Shinde, daring him not to use Bala Saheb Thackeray's name. And shifting focus now, Draupadi Murmu, the BJP-led NDA's pick for the president, filed her nomination for the post a short while ago with a host of ruling party and alliance leaders on hand to endorse her application. Now, Murmu was accompanied by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and senior leaders of the ruling party, including the BJP president, JP Nadda, Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh, several chief ministers, as well as leaders of supporting parties who accompanied Murmu as she filed her nomination papers for the July 18th presidential elections. Now, Prime Minister Modi, who was her first proposer, handed over the set of papers to the returning officer. Now, the BJP had prepared 4 sets of nominations for Murmu's candidature. Now, besides, YSR Congress's V. Vijay Reddy and BJD leader Sasmit Patra, who are not part of the alliance, were also in parliament to back her nomination. Now, every set of nomination has to have 50 proposers and 50 seconders among selected representatives. If selected, Murmu will be the first woman tribal leader and the second woman in the post. And at 64, Draupadi Murmu will also be the youngest president ever, second only to N. Sanjeeva Reddy, who was a few days elder to her when he became the president rather. Well, she is the first presidential candidate from Odisha of a major political party or alliance. She was also the first woman governor of Jharkhand and served as Jharkhand governor from 2015 to 2020. Now, meanwhile, chief ministers of at least 4 northeastern states attend the nomination filing of Draupadi Murmu. Assam Chief Minister Hemanta Biswa Sharma termed Murmu's candidature as special for Assam. He, in fact, termed it as a golden moment.
প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী নৰেন্দ্ৰ মোদী ডাঙৰীয়াৰ নেতৃত্বত আজি ভাৰতৰ ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতিৰ প্ৰাৰ্থী হিচাপে শ্ৰীমতী দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মুৰ মনোনয়ন পত্ৰ দাখিল কৰা হয়। অসমৰ বাবে এটা বিশেষ আমি পজিটিভ নিউজ বুলি ভাবিম যে আমাৰ অসমৰ যথেষ্ট আদিবাসী সম্প্ৰদায়ৰ লোক আছে। আদিবাসী কমিউনিটিৰ পৰাই বা জনজাতীয় ৰাইজৰ ফালৰ পৰা দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মুৱে প্ৰথমবাৰৰ বাবে ভাৰতৰ ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতিৰ আসন অধিষ্ঠিত কৰিব। তেখেত এগৰাকী শিক্ষয়িত্ৰী, মন্ত্ৰী আছিলে, ৰাজ্যপাল আছিলে। মই ভাবো যে ভাৰতীয় গণতন্ত্ৰৰ বাবে শ্ৰীমতী দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মুৰ ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতি পদত আৰোহণ এক সোণালী ক্ষণ হ'ব। It will be considered as a golden moment in the history of our democracy.
And meanwhile, Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma said that Murmu's candidature had fulfilled his late father Purno A. Sangma's dream.
Well, I'm extremely thrilled, and it's something that has been a part of our kind of ideology, and it's something that my late father, Mr. P.A. Sangma, had also contested the presidential election, and he had once said that one day there will be a tribal person who will become the president of this country, and I think it's kind of a dream come true for all of us. So I'm very happy and excited, and we have full support for the candidature. I think this is it's not about politics anymore. It's really about sending the message of inclusiveness and letting a strong message go to the whole country that when it comes to important issues like these, and especially when it comes to a candidate like this, that we are all united and one.
Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh also expressed happiness over Murmu's candidature.
पहली बार वुमेन्स और ट्राइबल जो एनडीए का जो उम्मीदवार हो रहा है भारत की सबसे ऊंचे प्रेसिडेंट पोस्ट के लिए अपने ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में इसको हम सब ने उसको विदाउट ऑपोजिशन बनाना चाहिए और अपने नॉर्थ ईस्ट का खास करके मणिपुर का तो हम सब दलों को मिलके राष्ट्रपति जी को बनाने के लिए हम वोट दे देंगे। सर अपोजिशन में भी हम अपील कर रहा हूँ कि जैसे ये हिस्ट्री में पहली बार हुआ है, ऐसे एक ट्राइबल नारी को इतना ऊंचा पद में रखने के लिए प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी जी का और एनडीए का जो है निर्णय है, इसको समर्थन करने के लिए हम ऑपोजिशन लोग को भी हम रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं।
And moving on now, the EVMs and VVPATs used in the by-election in Agartala and Town Bordwali constituency are kept in sealed strong rooms at Old Omakanta Academy building under round-the-clock surveillance of troopers of the Central Paramilitary as well as CCTV and representatives of various political parties. The counting will be held on Sunday. Now, these two seats are politically very important, as from one of them, Chief Minister Manik Saha is the candidate, while from the heavyweight Congress leader and former Minister Sudeep Roy Barman has contested. Now, election for total 4 constituencies were held on Thursday, and this by-election, held 8 months before the assembly election scheduled early next year, is considered semi-final, as they shall largely speak about it in which direction the public of Tripura are moving.
আমাদের তো যেমন পোল পিবিএমগুলি আমরা স্ট্রং রুমে রাখি এবং সেন্ট্রাল প্যারামিলিটারি ফোর্সের অধীনেই থাকে, ওরা গার্ডিং করেন। এই উমাকান্ত ওল্ড বিল্ডিংয়ে আমাদের স্ট্রং রুম আছে 6 আগরতলা এবং 8 টাউন বর্দোয়ালি। দুটোর বাই ইলেকশনের সম্পূর্ণ ইভিএম এবং ভিভিপ্যাট এবং ইলেকশন মেশিন ম্যাটেরিয়ালসগুলি সিল অবস্থায় এখানে আছেন। কালকে অনারেবল অবজারভারের উপস্থিতিতে ভোট শেষ হওয়ার পরে যখন আমরা রিসিভ করেছি, সবগুলি আমরা দুই আরওয়ে আমরা দুটো স্ট্রং রুমে আমরা রেখেছি ইন দ্য প্রেজেন্স অফ অবজারভার, এবং সবগুলি আমরা সেন্ট্রাল প্যারামিলিটারি ফোর্সের গার্ডে দেওয়া আছে। প্যারামিলিটারি ফোর্স আছেন যারা পলিটিক্যাল পার্সন বলুন আর ক্যান্ডিডেটের রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ, ওনাদেরকে আমরা আমাদের সিসি ক্যামেরা আছেন সেটার আমরা দেখার ব্যবস্থা করে দিয়েছে এবং ওনারা এখানে গার্ড দেবেন সেই পারমিশনও আমাদের থেকে নিয়েছেন। এখন আমরা পোলের পরে একটা অবজারভার ক্যান্ডিডেটদের নিয়ে একটা স্ক্রুটিনি করে, গতদিনে যে ইলেকশন হয়েছে পরেই একটা স্ক্রুটিনি একটু আগে শেষ হয়েছে, অবজারভার এটা রিপোর্ট দেবেন।
And with that, we'll take a very short break where we've got a lot more lined up when we return. Stay with us.
Evening Prime, every day at 7 p.m.
Sterling Reserve, come alive.
অভূতপূর্ব ভ্যারাইটি, অপূর্ব মূল্য। ডাউনলোড মিশো।
आगे बढ़ने का गर्व, जीतने का गर्व, किसी की खुशियां बनने का गर्व, देश को सुरक्षित रखने का गर्व। ऐसे ही हजारों गर्व के पलों से जुड़ा हुआ है टाटा शक्ति, क्योंकि जब आप जीते हैं गर्व से, हम जीते हैं गर्व से।
সুগন্ধ ৰং আৰু সোৱাদ খাতি,
এভৰিডে জিভাত দিয়ে আচল জুতি।
এভৰিডে স্পাইচেছ 100% টেষ্ট, এভৰিডে স্পাইচেছ বেষ্ট।
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
Welcome back, viewers. Let's continue the bulletin with more national stories now. Well, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's office in Kainati near Kalpeta in Wayanad was vandalized today, allegedly by the Students' Federation of India, or the SFI, activist. While Indian Youth Congress, in a tweet, alleged that goons held the flags of SFI as they climbed the walls of Rahul Gandhi's Wayanad office and vandalized it. Now, a protest march of the SFI, the students' wing of the ruling CPIM, against the Congress MP Rahul Gandhi turned violent as a group of protesters allegedly entered the Lok Sabha member's office and vandalized it. Now, a protest march of the SFI, the students' wing of the ruling CPIM, against the Congress MP leader Rahul turned violent as a group of protesters allegedly entered the Lok Sabha member's office and vandalized it. Now, the student organization was protesting against the creation of buffer zones around forest in the hilly areas of Kerala. Now, according to the Supreme Court, wildlife sanctuaries and national parks should have a 1 kilometer buffer zone around them. Well, meanwhile, Kerala Chief Minister Pinayari Vijayan condemned the attack and said that strong action would be taken against the accused. Now, the Supreme Court today dismissed a petition filed by deceased Congress leader Ehsan Jafri's widow, Zakia Jafri, that questioned the clean chit given to the Special Investigation Team to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and 63 others for their alleged role in the 2002 Gujarat riots violence. Now, Ehsan Jafri was killed during the violence at Gulbarg Society in Ahmedabad on February 28, 2002. Well, the Apex Court had reserved its order on a petition filed by Zakia Jafri against the Gujarat High Court's order, rejecting her plea against the SIT decision, giving a clean chit to Prime Minister Modi, who was the Gujarat Chief Minister in 2002, and 63 others in December last year. Now, senior advocate Mukul Rohatgi, who appeared for the SIT, told the bench that the Supreme Court should endorse the trial court and the Gujarat High Court's decision on Jafri's plea. Otherwise, it would result in an endless exercise that could go on because of some motives of social activist Tistas Tetalwad, who is a petitioner number 2 in the petition. Well, Kapil Sibal, who appeared for Zakia Jafri, told the top court that the SIT did not conduct an investigation but did a collaborative exercise, and its probe was fraught with omissions to protect conspirators. Well, he also said that officials of the SIT as well as the police were rewarded handsomely. Now, the court-appointed Special Investigation Team, or the SIT, had submitted its closure report in February 2012, a decade after the riots, and exonerated Prime Minister Narendra Modi and 63 others, citing no prosecutable evidence. Now on to Meghalaya. Shillong witnessed yet another protest against the centre's new recruitment scheme for defence forces in the country. Hundreds of army job aspirants today staged a sit-in demonstration demanding the immediate rollback of the recently launched Agnipath military recruitment scheme outside the Shillong Civil Hospital. The youth also held a protest rally demanding Common Entrance Examination, or the CEE, an army recruitment rally to be conducted at the earliest. The aspirants said that the exams are pending since 2021 and were repeatedly cancelled on the pretext of COVID-19. Well, furthermore, the aspirants claimed that they were recently informed that the exams have been cancelled due to the implementation of the centre's new recruitment scheme, the Agnipath scheme.
As the youth of Meghalaya here, we are all about 800, I think, total for all of us, all Meghalaya have selected for the medical. But not here for here, I think only 50 plus we are here. So we demand for the government to take responsibility for us to conduct this CE exam, because we, the youth, we really want from our bottom of our heart, really, I can see that we want to be in the Indian Army. So we try our best, as we know we have worked some hard to pass out to the physical and medical also. But we are still waiting for the written exam, but now we have been cancelled. So that's why we are here to demand for that, the CE exam, Common Entrance exam for the Indian Army.
all are here. All those boys from all over the district, from Garo Hills, West, Khasi, and all district, we are here to protest against the exam that we had that been cancelled for us in Indian Army CE exam, Common Interest exam. So this exam should be held in 2021 on the date of 30 May. From that day, the exam been cancelled every month, like they have been postponed. And they said that due to coronavirus, your exam has been postponed. But we came to ZRO many times, like 10 times, 15 times. We come to ZRO, we asked, when, sir, where will be our exam? He said, your exam will be held soon. So go and prepare for your exam. They said like that. But few days before, we asked, sir, what Agnipath scheme have been come? So what about our exam? Oh, we think that your exam will be cancelled. How come our exam should be cancelled? Because we have not given this rally through the Agnipath scheme. So this is not the right of the government that should cancel our exam.
Well, it may be mentioned here that Shillong, which is headquarters to several important military, air force, and paramilitary forces, saw similar agitation just the past Monday, the 20th, over the Agnipath recruitment policy, as hundreds of aspirants seeking jobs in the Indian Armed Forces took to the streets in protest. Moving on now, situation also continues to be critical in Silchar, where the Air Force is finding it very difficult to drop relief items. Now, major part of the town continues to be inundated as the NDRF and the SDRF work round the clock to deliver relief to all parts. Now, these visuals on your screen show Air Force personnel dropping essential items on the flooded roads for want of flat, dry space or rooftops in certain areas. Well, Silchar has been at the receiving end since the past 1 week, with floodwaters refusing to subside. The deluge has brought life to a standstill in this commercial hub of Barak Valley, which is housed to over 2 lakh people. And moving on now, the Manipur Congress today termed the government's decision to stop the border fencing along the international border with Myanmar as a farce. Now, briefing news persons, Manipur Congress Vice President Hareshwar Goswami questioned the intent of the state government and thinks that it is only a bid to pacify the protesters. Now, while the row has escalated over fencing along the border pillars 81 and 82, the Congress leaders said that the dispute is prevalent in very vast areas along the international border. Well, it needs to be mentioned that an order was passed by the government to stop the ongoing border fencing works, especially after delegates of the United Committee Manipur met Chief Minister N. Biren Singh yesterday.
Yesterday, Honorable CM of Manipur, Shri Biren Singh, have stated that fencing at those areas where there is dispute will be stopped. This is anyway a good step, but to us it seems to be a bluff to the people, bluff to the state, because the disputed area is not only the area where border pillar number IT and IT1 is situated. There are also many other places where dispute is still there. Honorable Minister's statement that this will be stopped only at The place where border pillar number IT1 and the IT2 is situated is quite quite unacceptable to Manipur Pradesh Congress Committee, and it would be also to the people of Manipur.
And on to a lighter note now, popular fantasy drama Game of Thrones ended in 2019, but there are many prequel spin-offs in development. Well, what can one expect in the future? Here's a little update. House of Dragon is GOT's first spin-off. Now, the 10-episode series is set to premiere on HBO Max on August 21st, 2022. It tells the story of Dance of the Dragons, the bloody civil war of House of Targaryen, which happened 100 years ago before the beginning of GOT. Now, recently, HBO announced a new sequel of GOT, which will focus on Jon Snow. Kit Harington will reprise his fan-favorite character in the spin-off, which follows Jon's live post the events of GOT finale. Now, meanwhile, in March 2021, there were reports that HBO was making 3 more spin-offs. One of them was The Sea Snake, which was earlier titled 9 Voyages. And another spin-off in development stage is 10,000 Ships, set around 1,000 years before GOT events, and it will revolve around Princess Nymeria, an ancestor of the House of Martell who founded the Dawn. Now, well, some good news to all of you Game of Thrones lovers. Well, social media personality Kabi Lame has achieved a new record of garnering 142.8 million followers on TikTok. Well, Lame, with this new record, has surpassed popular TikTok video creator Charlie D'Amelio, who currently has 142.3 million followers. Now, the 22-year-old's video content includes reacting to absurd life hack videos and creating the video himself to show an easier and more logical hack. Now, known for performing comedic bits, Lame's videos do not have any dialogue. However, his straightforward, iconic expressions and body language have made him one of the most widely loved and acknowledged TikTok creators globally. Well, it may be mentioned here that Lame's first viral video was posted on November 2020, which was viewed over 17 million times. Besides, Kabi Lame's first ever posted video was on March 2020 after he was asked to leave his factory office during COVID-19 pandemic. Moving on now, renowned South Korean boy band BTS will hold a global concert to support the nation's bid to host the 2030 World Expo in Busan. Well, HYBE's chairman Bang Si-hyuk and CEO Park Ji-won and the mayor of Busan Metropolitan City, Park Hyung-jun, today signed a memorandum of understanding at the Busan Metropolitan City Hall to promote Busan's bid for the World Expo 2030. Now, as part of the agreement, BTS as ambassadors will hold the Global Busan concert in efforts to bring the World Expo 2030 to Busan. Now, the memorandum covers joint initiatives for Busan to succeed in its bid as the host. It includes BTS to act as the ambassadors, hold global concert in Busan, organize activities to appeal to the members of the Bureau International des Expositions, or the BIE, and personally introduce the proposed site for the BIE inquiry missions. Now, meanwhile, Chairman Bang assured that BTS and HYBE will do their best to successfully bring the World Expo to Busan. And he further said that this will be a great opportunity for further development of K-culture as well as its local pop cultures in Busan. Well, love can overcome any barrier. An endearing video of an African-American man saying his wedding vows for his Malayali bride in her native language is winning the hearts of netizens across the world. The video was started by Genova Julian Pyror on Instagram 2 days ago with the caption, "My husband learned and said part of his wedding vows in my native language, Malayalam. I cried so hard." Well, Denzel A. Pyror exchanged wedding vows in both Malayalam and English. He read the wedding vows on the phone, leaving his Malayali wife with tears of joy. The video has received over 67,000 views and more than 5,000 likes on Instagram so far. And it can be seen in the video that the groom starts his vows in English, but soon switches to the bride's native language. Quote, "I have found my wife. I am going to speak a little Malayalam here," unquote. Then he translates the vows in Malayalam, unquote. Now, he not only read the Malayalam words from his phone, but he also did the translation for the guests who couldn't understand the language. Now, the video also shows the guests hooting and cheering in the background while his bride, Genova, gets emotional and wipes away her tears of joy. And the clip has garnered tons of reactions from Instagram users. People adored how Denzel spoke Malayalam with utmost clarity, with one saying, "Malayalam, known as the toughest language, spoken simply with clarity." Superb.
Again, Proverbs 18:22, the man who finds a wife finds a treasure and he receives favor from the Lord. I'm going to speak a little Malayalam here. Nyan ende baria kandu pirachu.
Yes. That's beautiful.
For no one here who speaks Malayalam, I just said, I have found my wife. Ende nidi kandu pirichu. I have found my treasure. Enika ina davatinde kreba kiti. I have found favor from the Lord. And last but not least, Nyanini Snehikini. I love you.
Well, that's indeed very endearing. Let's move on now. Sahitya Academy Translation Prize for the year 2021 has been announced. Now, for the Assamese language, the prestigious award has been conferred to Pori Hiloidari for her book title, Datti Paror Manu. Now, her book is an Assamese translation of The Legends of Pensam, authored by Mamang Dai of Arunachal Pradesh. Now, meanwhile, Indira Boro has been conferred the award for translating Jayanti Gogoi's Assamese novel, Hirimba, written in the Bodo language. Now, for the Nepali language, the Sahitya Academy Award Translation Prize has been conferred to Sanjeev Upadhyay for his book, Babu Chhora, while he translated Assam's noted literature Homen Borgohain famous novel, Pita Putra. Let's move on now. In a huge crackdown, a Sership battalion of 23 Sector Assam Rifles yesterday recovered methamphetamine tablets worth a whooping amount of over 1 crore from Zokhauthar area of Champhai district. Now, the team arrested 3 peddlers and seized 51,000 tablets weighing approximately 4.71 kgs. It may be mentioned here that the operation was carried out by a team of 8 Assam Rifles based on specific information. Now, besides the seized consignment, and the arrested were handed over to Champhai police for further investigation. Now, in a huge crackdown, Shership battalion of 23 Sector Assam Rifles yesterday recovered methamphetamine tablets worth a whooping amount of over 1 crore from Zokhauthar area of Champhai district. Now, the team arrested 3 peddlers and seized 51,000 tablets weighing approximately 4.7 kgs. Well, it may be mentioned here that the operation was carried out by a team of 8 Assam Rifles based on specific information. Besides, the seized consignment and the arrested were handed over to the Champhai police for further investigation. Now to some international stories. A second earthquake struck an area of eastern Afghanistan a short while back, killing at least 5 people. As per reports, the tremors shook areas close to the epicenter of Wednesday's 6.1 magnitude earthquake. Now, US Geological Survey website showed a 4.3 magnitude earthquake had hit near the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. Meanwhile, authorities in Afghanistan have ended the search for survivors after an earthquake that had killed over 1,000. Meanwhile, India on Thursday sent humanitarian aid to the people of Afghanistan. Now, taking an incremental step towards reopening the Indian embassy in Afghanistan, New Delhi Thursday sent a technical team to Kabul, where it will be stationed at the embassy to coordinate delivery of humanitarian aid. Now, in a first, an electric car caught on fire in India and has been videotaped in Maharashtra. Now, in the past couple of months, several electric scooters have caught on fire. However, for an electric car to catch fire in India, this is the first reported case. Now, videos making the rounds on the internet show a Tata Nexon EV engulfed in flames outside a restaurant in the West Vasai area of Mumbai. As of now, the cause of this particular incident isn't known. But in a statement, Tata Motors has assured that a detailed investigation has been initiated in the matter. Now, after the videos went viral on social media, Tata Motors issued a statement informing a detailed investigation is currently being conducted to ascertain the facts of the incident. While Tata also assured to share detailed response after completing the investigation. Well, Tata Nexon EV has been on sale in India for more than 2.5 years now. It is one of the highest selling passenger EVs in the nation. Tata Motors has recently also launched the Nexon EV Max in India, which has a larger battery pack, develops more power and torque, and is claimed to deliver a range of 437 kilometers on a single charge. And moving on now, the Supreme Court today dismissed a petition filed by deceased Congress leader Ehsan Jaffrey's widow, Zakia Jaffrey, that questioned the clean chit given by the Special Investigation Team to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and 63 others for their alleged role in the 2002 Gujarat riots. Now, Ehsan Jaffrey was killed during the violence at Gulbarg Society in Ahmedabad on February the 28th, 2002. Now, the Apex Court had reserved its order on a petition filed by Zakia Jaffrey against the Gujarat High Court's order, rejecting her plea against the SIT decision, giving a clean chit to Prime Minister Modi, who was the Gujarat Chief Minister in 2002 and 63 others in December last year. While senior advocate Mukul Rohatgi, who appeared for the SIT, told the bench that the Supreme Court should endorse the trial court and the Gujarat High Court's decision on Jaffrey's plea. Otherwise, it would result in an endless exercise that could go on because of some motives of social activist Tista Sitalwad, who is petitioner number 2 in the petition. Now, Kapil Sibal, who appeared for Zakia Jaffrey, told the top court that the SIT did not conduct an investigation but did a collaborative exercise, and its probe was fraught with omissions to protect conspirators. Now, he also said that officials of the SIT, as well as the police, were quote-unquote rewarded handsomely. Now, the court-appointed SIT had submitted its closure report in February 2012, a decade after the riots, and exonerated Prime Minister Modi and 63 others, citing, and I quote, no prosecutable evidence. Now let's take a look at the news from across the nation in News Express.
In a major boost to the armed forces, the Indian Army today inducted new Made in India infantry combat vehicles into its machinery in Leh. As part of the indication, Northern Army Commander Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi drove the ICV. Several Jawans boarded the vehicle with weapons and successfully completed the first ride in the newly inducted Army machinery. As per reports, the driver of the ICV can see 1,800 meters away from it, and the weapon mounted on it can be controlled from inside. It is pertinent to note that the vehicle was inducted into the force some time ago and has been developed jointly by India's Defence Research and Development Organization and Tata Group. India has seen many a road with more potholes than tarmac. But pictures of giant craters that cover the full width of a national highway for as long as the eye can see are still a rare phenomenon. The alarming condition of National Highway 227 that goes through Bihar's Madhubani can be seen in a video that has gone viral on social media. The road, straight out of the obstacle race game show Takesi's Castle, also evoked a reaction from political strategists across the nation. A major fire broke out at Lucky Towel House on Char Khamba Road in Punjab, Ludhiana this morning. The dense smoke created problems for the fireman to douse the flames completely. It was a narrow escape for the workers of the showroom. A sudden short circuit in wires is said to be the cause behind the incident. In no time, the fire spread across the showroom. However, no casualty has been reported from the incident. The three-story building of Lucky Towel House was gutted and the entire stock of garments of various brands was reduced to ashes. Internationally acclaimed sand artist of Odisha, Sudarshan Patnaik and his team has created a magnificent sand art depicting NDA's candidate for presidential polls, Draupadi Murmu. A native of Rairangpur, Murmu, if elected, would be the first Oriya and the first tribal woman to hold the highest office of India. Meanwhile, conveying his best wishes through the sand art, Patnaik said that it's a matter of pride for us. So far, Sudarshan has participated in more than 60 international sand art championships and won many prizes for the country. In a heartwarming attempt to express love towards his pet dog, Shivappa Yalappa Maradi, a dog lover and owner of his furry pet dog Krish, celebrated the birthday of his pet in a grand manner at Belagavi in Karnataka. Many people were seen attending the birthday party. The dog was also seen cutting and enjoying his 100 kg birthday cake during the unique celebration. To promote tourism activities and cycling culture in Himachal Pradesh, the 4-day mountain biking rally organized in association with Himalayan Adventure Sports and Tourism Promotion Association and Himachal Tourism Department kicked off from Shimla and will conclude on June 26th. Participants from across country will travel for 180 km on mountainous roads. Chief Minister Jairam Thakur will flag off mountain biking in Shimla on 23rd June. The first phase of the cycle race is held from Mashobra to Chindi. The second phase will be from Chindri to Janchehli tomorrow. And the third and the final phase of biking will conclude on 26 June at Janchehli. In a tragic turn of events, a wedding venue in Uttar Pradesh turned into a crime scene after a person was killed in celebratory firing. The incident happened in Sonbhadra district when the groom opened fire during the wedding procession. Seconds later, the bullet hit his friend Babu Lal Yadav, an army jawan. The gun used by the groom belonged to the deceased Yadav. Meanwhile, after an FIR, the groom was arrested by the police. Celebratory firing at public gatherings, including at weddings and shrines, even with a licensed gun, is a criminal offense in India. Civil Lines Police busted the notorious Baghi gang and arrested 5 of its members, including the kingpin in connection with a crude bomb attack at an eatery in the Civil Lines area late Tuesday night. Firearms, ammunition and crude bombs were recovered from their possession. The arrested youths have formed a gang and were involved in loot and other serious crimes in Prayagraj and other districts. Some of them are students of Allahabad University and were living at Holland Hall Hostel. Meanwhile, 3 members of the gang are still at large. The centre has extended a Z category cover of the armed CRPF commandos to the opposition presidential candidate Yashwant Sinha. The squad has taken over the task after the Union Home Ministry directed the Central Reserve Police Force VIP security wing to ensure protection to the 84-year-old Sinha. The armed personnel, about 8 to 10 working in shifts, will escort Sinha whenever he moves across the country. Meanwhile, Sinha is expected to file his nomination on June 27, following which he will travel across the country seeking votes in his favor. Actor Kicha Sudeep's fans have been waiting with bated breaths to get a glimpse of his much-anticipated film Vikrant Rona, and the wait is finally over today. Kicha, along with Jacqueline Fernandez, were present at the trailer launch of the film in Juhu, Mumbai. The actors made a stylish appearance at the trailer launch and they were all smiles while attending the event. Speaking about their appearance, Jacqueline looked breathtakingly beautiful in a stylish white ensemble, while Kicha spotted a grey jacket and a pair of black denim pants while attending the event.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.